Hi everyone, my name's Amanda and this is Rainy Books with Amanda. This is my third book review for YouTube. Just a little FYI before we get started, I have been writing book reviews for I think about a little over 3 years now. I write them on my blog, rainydayswithamanda.blogspot.com, and I'll link the blog site below in case you want to look at any older book reviews that you may be wanting to read. I also have other content on there as well called Rainy Thoughts, and just different things that I think about and I write about. I once did an analogy between ramen and people, so if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to check it out. I also just wanted to let you know that I won't be doing my book reviews outside all the time. I'm currently waiting. We're actually getting custom shelves built right now so that this one room in our house will be more of like an entertainment / library room. So once those are done, hopefully in the next couple of videos, I'll have a different background inside with not all the naturey noise. But I'm sure I'll come out here and do it every once in a while, because why not switch it up? So anyways, the book review that we're doing today is called Waiting for the Past by Les Murray. Now, I actually picked this up at the Dollar Tree along with a few other books not so long ago. I do every now and then buy books at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes you'll find a hidden gem, and sometimes there's probably a reason that a book is at the Dollar Tree. So it's a hit or miss usually when I pick up a book from there. But this one really caught my eye. I just really liked the cover. I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, or buy a book by its cover, but I was just really intrigued. And then when I flipped through, I realized that it was a poetry book, and I just try to always have different palettes when it comes to reading. So I bought this along with a couple other books that I'll be reviewing later on throughout the year. And so without further ado, this is my review on Waiting for the Past, Poems by Les Murray. So a little bit about our author, Les Murray. His real name is actually Leslie Allen Murray. He was born on October 17th, 1938 in Bunya, New South Wales, Australia. He attended the University of Sydney, where he studied modern languages, worked as a translator, and served in the Royal Australian Naval Reserve. Murray's work has been translated into 10 languages, and he was awarded the Australian Literature Society's Gold Medal and the Queen's Gold Medal for Poetry. In his time active, he created 30 volumes of poetry, including our book today, Waiting for the Past, which he created in 2015. And then sadly, Murray has passed. He passed away in 2019 at the age of 80. So like I said, I was really intrigued by the cover. I just thought it was very vintage, antique looking, and it just kind of reminded me of Europe in a way. And so when I looked through, I saw that there was nice poetry, and it's only a 73-page book, I believe. 78, sorry. It's a 78-page book. And so I thought it would be a good book to review for all of you guys, just so you kind of know. And so a lot of I researched into Murray a little bit before this, and so he did a lot of his poetry on his childhood and growing up poor in Australia. This was no different. This book of poetry does revolve around Murray's life growing up in Australia. So when you read his poetry, you can really feel his emotions when he's going through. There was quite a few poems that I read, and I could really feel that he was spatting out what he was feeling and really putting all his energy into his poems. And so when you read it, you know that he means it. So that's always amazing to read, when you can actually read somebody's emotions. And so Murray does a good job at portraying his emotions. And there were quite a few poems that I really enjoyed reading in here. I'll read one for you guys. They're not super long poems at all. I think I really liked. It's called The Privacy of Typewriters. I'm an old book troglodyte, one who composes on paper and types up the results as many times as need be. The computer scares me. It crashes and codes. It's links with spies and gunshots. It's text that looks pre-published. I fear a carriage that doesn't move or ding. No inky marching hammers leaping up and subsiding. I trust the spore of botched whiteouts where thought deepened. Wise freedom from spell check. Sheets to sell. The National Library. I fear the lure of that baleful mistruck key that fills a whiskered screen with a rife of child pornography. So that was just one of the poems that I enjoyed reading in his poetry book. There are quite a few more, so we'll not spoil the whole thing for you. But while there was quite a few poems that I did enjoy and understood, there were quite a few that I read and I just did not quite understand what he was talking about. It was not, I don't know if maybe it's because I'm not quite up to date with Australian history, or I just didn't understand. And I know poetry and art itself is always up for interpretation. I just genuinely did not understand some of them, or I just didn't find them. While I found a lot of his poems very emotional and powerful, not all of them were exactly up to par with one another. And so this was, but even from those poems that just didn't speak to me, there were still quite a few that I read that I thought just like were very interesting, and to hear what he was thinking about, such as the typewriters that I talked about, and how he felt about his time turning from manually writing to writing for a digital world. So that, like, I found those types of poems very interesting to see, like, the timeline and how he was feeling. But again, I just didn't feel that for exactly all of his poems. And I did read, I was reading what other people's thoughts on this book was, and while they loved his other works, this one just wasn't one of his more powerful works. And so I do give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. If you're into poetry and you want to read something a little bit different and more historical, I do recommend you read it. If you're not into poetry, you're not into history, then it's a pass. So it's up to you. But yeah, that's my review for today. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I also do a lot of poetry myself on my Instagram page, so I'll link that down below. And so yeah, until my next review, happy reading.